I think this is episode number 4 of saving Pauline, the big John Deere JS46 that's almost a quarter of a century old, 24 years old. I made a lot of progress on this mower. I got it to fire in the last video, which was exciting. So I'm thinking that maybe there's hope for this mower. And now what I'm working on is trying to get the carburetor cleaned up because I'm sure it's going to be funky. I assume it's full of old gas. And so I've already taken out the little screw that holds the tank on the bottom. And the washer is laying right here. My feel of it is really full of gas, so I'm curious what that gas looks like. It's probably going to be yellow. And of course I got to get this hose clamp off up here. Hey, how you doing? I think I'll just go ahead and take the carburetor off to get to it because I need to look at that anyway. These are going to be some 5/16 screws here. So let's see if we can get those out. Try to use my electric drill. And these screws are really long because they go way in here. Another thing that makes me think this carburetor is messed up is just the appearance of that bulb. It looks damp. So yeah, for Briggs, see, that's pretty unusual on a mower, have a big old screw like that, but that's what's in there. And I'm gonna get the other one off, and that holds this air filter base here, and attaches into the carburetor. So these aren't universal screws. I definitely don't want to lose these. So I'm gonna pull this off now. Oh yeah, that's a funky looking carburetor. Let me show you what I'm looking at here. You can see all the gunk in there, you know, from using the wrong kind of fuel. You see where it primes in the upper right corner. That's where the air is going to go. And I'm hoping I've got one of these carburetors around that's in decent shape because this one is not. So let's see if I can get this tank off without making a major spill. I use an idea that I saw on the internet that somebody posted. You just use a pair of sort of needle nose vice grips, and then you slip some old fuel hose on the end. You know, I'm always replacing fuel hoses, so you just cut a couple pieces. I'll show you what it looks like. And this will grip the hose. This will grip the hose real good, but not damage it because it's made out of rubber also, see? So, and then when you clip it down like that, see, it's going to grip tight. So let's grab this hose. The hose on this one is a lot longer than a usual quantum hose. If it's got a bunch of fuel in it, I'm going to try and grab it right in there. And that's pretty tight, so I'm going to loosen until it begins to, there we go. Okay, so I think that'll keep that thing from leaking. We'll find out. Let me get my flat nose pliers to get that hose clamp off. That way it's wide enough to grab all of it. Okay, I'm pulling this hose clamp down and get it out of the way. So now, in theory, this is just really stuck on here. I should be able to get this off without making an enormous spill. It's coming off. Wait, let me get a paper towel in here just to catch any drips that come out of there. There are probably one or two. Notice the tank doesn't drain. Yep, there's some fuel. All right, so I'm gonna get the hose where it's up above there, see, and that shouldn't leak because it's higher than the fuel in the tank, as long as this doesn't fall down. Okay, so I think that's gonna stay. Now I'm gonna get something I can pour that fuel in here because I'm curious what it looks like. This is the bottom half of a milk jug, and it's amazing to me how much I use old milk jugs in my little hobby. And so I'm gonna, again, try not to make too much of a spill here. Let's see if I can get the fuel out of this tank. There it comes. All right. The tank does drain okay. I'm always looking to make sure of that it doesn't, it's not in a vacuum, you know. That fuel looks pretty yellow. I'm gonna see if it drains faster when I open this. And I think it does a little bit. So I'm taking the cap off and draining this fuel out of there. Oh yeah, here comes the cloudy stuff. Yeah, that's not good. It's not good fuel at all. And the way I clean my tanks and get them ready to test is I'll just get fresh fuel and put it in there and swish it around, you know. Swirl it around, swish it around, and that seems to clean the tank enough to test these mowers once I get them, or they're ready to be tested. Anyway, now there's a lot of fuel in here. It's going to change in colors. So this goes into my used fuel tank, and I end up getting a lot of this. You know, I use some of it to clean little parts and things like that, but most of it I just have to take to the recycle center here. We actually have one here in my town where you can recycle old gas, and that's not always a common thing to be able to find. I'm still seeing a little bit of fuel in this tank, so I'm going back and forth because I want to try and get out as much of it as I can. All right, so I don't have to use this tank. I've got others that are dry and clean and the same type, so I may do that. I may just put another tank on there. But this one looks to be in good shape, so it's probably usable. So I'll set that tank over there for now. And we're gonna come back and attack this carburetor. And I gotta dump this old fuel on it because I sure don't want to bump into that and have it spill everywhere. So when you come back, we'll be working on the carb.